First Take starts, I believe Steve, the other part about this, and I wrote about this for Awful Announcing, is Stephen A. Smith was hosting today. So they didn't have like a traditional host in the Molly Karam, Shea Cornette seat. So that adds a wrinkle to all of this. I think Stephen A. Smith addressed it at the top, said they were going to come back to it. The Kash Patel press conference was going on. And so I saw a lot of people criticizing ESPN for, you turn on CNN, you turn on any of the networks, they're all covering the press conference. First Take is debating like Cooper Flagg's performance in the Mavericks Spurs game. I thought that was a little bit unfair because I was at least giving them the benefit of the doubt that like they wanted to see what came from this press conference and then they would circle back. Circle back they did. And by the end of the segment, I think most people wish they probably would have just stuck to talking about Victor Wembanyama. They came back at 10:35. They played a clip from Kash Patel's press conference, and then it launches into just like a Stephen A. Smith appearance on Hannity, where he is effectively blaming the Trump administration, quote unquote revenge tour, not his quotes, but that's what he was getting at, bringing up, Bad Bunny, bringing up Stephen A. Smith and, or bringing up Donald Trump and how he has acted toward the sports world before, really like it felt like not only blaming Donald Trump, but almost like absolving the NBA figures who are at the center of this investigation for now. Really just like a bizarre monologue. I think Jay Williams was there. Jay Williams was trying to like get it on track by talking about the mafia's involvement. Monica McNutt was like the only one who seemed to fully grasp what was going on in terms of what Stephen A. Smith was saying. And she even said at one point, like, I wish we would have had some of this dialogue off air, because I think she was put in a really bad spot. Because if you're Monica McNutt, Stephen A. Smith does his rant about Trump. He comes to you. One, you're probably not fully prepared to address this. You were getting ready to talk about Mavs Spurs. Two, now you're in a position where if you're Monica McNutt, you either have to agree with Stephen A. Smith and find yourself as a target of the culture wars once again, or you have to disagree with him and effectively sound like you're agreeing with Donald Trump. Like Monica McNutt was in the ultimate lose-lose. You could see it on her face. You could see at one point she's sitting there just like this, like, oh my God, what is going on? That was like about as like, it was jarring to me that was what they came up with after 35 minutes to have a segment. They just left Stephen A. Smith to his own devices. And boy, did he deliver.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, Monica McNutt handled it about as well as she could have, and just said, this is an offline conversation. This is not something I want to put myself in the middle of. But you're exactly right. Like there's just there was no preparedness here from ESPN, and it's just I don't know. Like when you give Stephen A. the latitude to do that, and obviously like. He is well rehearsed in his talking points on politics at this point. Like I think he probably ranted for about 8 or 10 minutes on the situation before Shams is like, I'd actually like to get a point of clarification in here. And there was no one there to be the traffic cop, like you said. So, what you get is just this kind of incoherent rambling. But to be fair to Stephen A. Smith, there is a political element to all of this, right? It's just a matter of like, is this the time and place to talk about this? Because we're in the first hours of breaking news coverage. That's typically reserved for, let's like find the facts, let's dissect the facts, let's lay out like what is next here, like what is next in the FBI's investigation, what is next for the Portland Trailblazers, what's next for the Miami Heat as they try to replace these active coaches and active players on their rosters. Instead, you're getting like the third level, the fourth level commentary from Stephen A. Smith, which should probably be reserved for tomorrow or even like later on, and when he has his SiriusXM show or his podcast that he talks about politics. In the first hours of a breaking news scenario, it is not the role of Stephen A. Smith to be talking about the politics of the Trump administration. Like, we're trying to get the information here, and instead we just got, that. So I don't know. It's just all crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, had he done this rant on the Stephen A. Smith show, had he done this rant on Hannity, had he done this rant on any of the number of political shows he's been going on lately, including his own for SiriusXM, like, I think we would have written it up. I think it would have been noteworthy. And I think it would have been fine. Like, you're right. There is a political element to all of this. The FBI is an extension of the Trump administration. And so, like, I think that's, I don't think like the commentary itself was necessarily out of bounds. It was just so out of place. And it was so, you're just putting your teammates, and that's what they are. They're your teammates. You're putting them in such a bad spot. Like, you're just like, one, they are not the same. Stephen A. Smith is the one person at ESPN who's allowed to also be a political commentator. They are not political commentators. And Monica McNutt has to constantly guard against being written about by websites who want to turn her into a political figure, even though she's a basketball analyst. And so I just thought it was such a bad spot. You have Vincent Goodwill. It's his first day on First Take as an NBA analyst. Like, I don't think he got a word in during those 25 minutes. And for him, like, I cannot fault him for that at all. Like, it was just, I don't know. It was just not the time or the place for it. And the fact that they all had to like react to that. I think you're exactly right. I think Monica McNutt did about as well of a job as you could do when put in that situation.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think towards the end of the segment, Stephen A. goes, "Vincent, would you like to put a bow on this conversation before we head to break?" And it's like, yeah, I think he's good. I don't think he wants to step in that. And it's also just funny, like you were saying earlier, how Jay Williams is trying to like get the conversation back on track by talking about the mafia, like as if that's going to be better than whatever Stephen A. was talking about. Like, it's funny because like you're watching this live and it's like, this is the best they can come up with, but there's obvious sports angles to this. Like, why are you not talking about, who's going to coach the Trailblazers? Like, why aren't you talking about how Terry Rozier is going to be replacing the Miami Heat lineup? Like, there's obvious stuff to talk about, but instead you're talking about the Trump administration and Bad Bunny doing the Super Bowl halftime show. I mean, I just could not believe it. It was like watching a car wreck in front of me live on ESPN.